Last cheese, which is probably a good thing because we're getting a bit cheesed out here. This is a vintage cheddar. So this is, you know, classic British cheese, a proper cheddar. Make sure you get a proper cheddar and not one of those bad imitations. And this is a vintage. This is going to have that kind of crystalline structure. Let's give it a taste, actually. It's got that real crumbly. Sharp. Sharp, salty, slightly acidic. It's got that butyric acid, that slightly acidic taste to it.
That's really sharp, but it's also very creamy, isn't it?
It's got real good umami, good savouriness to it. Delicious cheese. Amazing.
And it's got some crystals, kind of that
It's got the little crunch that comes from proper vintage.
Okay.
Okay, so now, let's move that across. Now we've got 3 different teas, and I've specially chosen 3 different oolong teas. So all the rest of the other ones that we've liked, we've never chosen an oolong. So let's see if we can find an oolong that works with the cheese. So first of all, we're going to go with Superior Iron Goddess, which is a bit of a strange one because this is a tea which has quite floral notes to it, which doesn't sound like it should work with cheddar, but I'm just seeing if the contrast pairing is going to work. So this has a kind of bright, creamy, but a little bit more floral than the previous one, the Alishan cream.
That's very floral.
Yeah.
What's kind of...
The classic is honeysuckle. People talk about honeysuckle and orchid and things like that. So quite sweet flowers.
Yeah, I can smell orchid.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. This is a bit of an oddball, a bit of a curveball. Let's see how they work together. It's interesting because it adds a certain floweriness and a certain sweetness and it makes the cheese more gentle, if you know what I mean. It's less of that kind of strong vintage cheddar. It tastes...
It's also quite cleansing.
Yeah.
I feel quite cleansed, so I can have another bite. But the cheese remains the star. This kind of is a supporting thing around the cheese.
Yeah. I would say it's compatible, but not really enhancing anything.
The tea is not necessarily enhanced in any way. It just allows the cheese to be eaten in a more pleasurable way. You know, it's not...
Agreed. All right, so let's try now a different oolong. So this is what we call Midnight Sun, and this is a dark roasted Jinshuan oolong. So again, similar kind of family, but now we're adding a bit of roast to it. Right?
That's so different.
Yeah.
That's really nutty and malty and...
So I figured that maybe we should try a roasted with cheese. It might work. That I really like.
That's quite delicious.
Yeah. It's that interplay again. It's the sour with the roast. It just kind of like, it plays with each other.
Makes them both taste quite nutty. Do you get a lot of nuttiness that comes out?
Yeah.
As a third flavour?
Yeah, exactly. So you weren't talking about this as a nutty thing. We were talking about it as being quite salty, acidic, crystalline.
Creamy.
This has warmed it up and turned it into, it has kind of modulated it into a bit more of a nutty flavour. That really works, actually. I'm surprised at how the roast works with the cheddar.
That's delicious.
You wouldn't really have thought of that.
Why?
I don't know, because I always think of cheddars as very kind of, as that vintage, kind of salty, acidic taste. And the roast is quite mellow, isn't it? Roast is that mellow nuttiness. So it's the contrast. Would they mix? Would they find the balance? And they have. They've joined in a really nice way. But now we are actually going to taste a more fruity oolong. So the reason why I've picked this Eastern Beauty or Oriental Beauty, which as any tea head would know, is a classic Taiwanese oolong, summer-picked Taiwanese oolong that has this kind of honey and muscatel notes, and it has the kind of sweet grapes, raisins, flowers. So it's got much more of the fruitiness, right? So let's see how the fruitiness of this tea and the honey kind of notes react with the cheese. It does something completely different to the last tea. It certainly, it brings out, for me, it brings out the acidity of the cheese more. The last tea kind of made it feel nuttier and rounded. This one brings out more of the acidity.
This one feels like it's supporting the cheese more, but it's not that journey we were talking about.
It's not the third flavour.
It's not that third flavour.
Yeah.
The middle one gave the third flavour.
I agree.
Because you want that reaction once you've had the cheese in your mouth and you sip that tea, something new to happen. Not the same old tea you had at the beginning. It's got to be a different flavour in your mouth, and that middle one gave us that.
So I think what we can conclude from this is that all of these teas and cheese, they kind of worked, you know, for me. There was nothing that was offensive or these don't work.
Are you talking about...
Just in general, across everything.
Yeah.
All of the teas that we've tasted with the cheese, the worst that happened was that they kind of cancelled each other out and there was nothing really particularly special going on. But when you find the right combination, there is some little bit of magic that happens.
Yeah.
And trying to work out the theory or the science behind how you can predict that is really in its infancy. I think obviously with wine sommeliers, they've done so much more in terms of researching this. And we're talking just about cheese. Can you imagine if it was a complex dish with like some other ingredients, then it would be even more complicated.
Yeah, I think that also the temperature of the tea, that's a major impact. When it was too hot, it just cancelled out. You didn't get the same flavours.
Yeah.
Then if it's at the right temperature, that's going to be a hard thing to control in a restaurant environment.
Yeah, but it's definitely controllable. It just needs to be really thought out, and instead of using your kind of head as to, you know, thinking what would work well with each other, you just have to just taste and try and get to a point where you start to have a more kind of innate understanding of it. So recap, Angie Bai Cha with the goat's cheese.
I'm thinking that green teas and goat's cheese, that's something we need to try next time.
Then you had the Comté, and we liked it with
the black tea.
With the Boulang black tea. That's interesting to me. So the warming Boulang black tea. Then you had the Gorgonzola with the young pu'er tea.
That was delicious.
That was probably the star.
I think
Although
that's the star.
I think this.
I think these two.
Let's
Should we just finish on
have finish what's in there. There's only a little bit of tea left, so you can have this. Taste the last one with the cheese.
You can too.
Oh wow, that works so well. So I would say that this one and the Gorgonzola with the pu'er is the star, because they definitely create a third flavour. There's something different that happens in your tongue. The receptors respond in a really interesting, complex way to give you that journey.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's the winner for me.
Good. Well, it's the first stage of tasting, so we're going to keep doing this in the background, and we'll certainly be coming back with some more videos with more complex tastings and a little bit more of the theoretical science behind the tastings. But that's it, tea heads. If you made it to the end of this video, then please give the video the thumbs up. Check out our YouTube playlist and let us know if there are any videos that you would like us to make. If you're ever in London, then come visit us in Camden to say hi and taste our wares. If you have any questions or comments, then please fire them over. Other than that, I'm Don May with my sis. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from the tea bags, keep drinking the good stuff, and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.